Thank you so much, and thank you for the wonderful introduction. It's been great working with Kevin and really just MNO quality in terms of just everything that they're doing and everything that they touch. And this fundraising program and the uniqueness that it brings just matches really with the rest of the company and how unique it is. Rod certainly has a vision for the company that is special, and this program fits right into to all of that. So Rod and Cheryl have just been amazing, this program, I hope that what I share with you tonight gets you excited, because it really is. If you look at all the other fundraising programs that are out there, there is nothing like what we have, and it is a blessing truly to not only to the agents who are tapping in and taking advantage of this program, but absolutely to the fundraisers that are getting an opportunity to be a part of this. So with that, I want to kind of tell you what I'm going to go through tonight in the training to kind of help each of you. And so here's some of the things that we're going to cover, and I'll go through this quickly. I think there's going to be some questions, and we're going to continue to evolve this program out. So I probably won't answer every question. In fact, I might generate some as well. But I want to talk about really which organizations, and you're going to find out that pretty much any organization, but which ones really are a good fit for what it is that we're doing. And then a brief script, because I think the script, the script is not so much that you need to say it word for word. It's about coming up with something that really works for you. But there are some things in this script that if you incorporate into however it is you word it, it will be very helpful in terms of helping you to move it forward with the church, the organization, the nonprofit, whatever it is that you're working with. We're going to talk about how to keep the sales process moving so that it doesn't stall out, and some of the steps for just getting a fundraiser started and out of the gate. We're going to review the presentation, and what's happening with the presentation is it's sort of evolved, and the presentation will be up. It'll be a presentation that you can send any fundraiser to. Now, we already have a 4-minute one that we're tweaking again, but it's still up on the website at the MNOFundOneStop.com. That's MNOFundOneStop.com. But it's also on the MyNetworkOne main website as well. So that 4-minute video, but we will have a longer video that will follow along with the PowerPoint that I'm going to kind of run through quickly tonight. I'm not going to do it in great detail tonight on the PowerPoint, but what I am going to show you are a few of the key things we put into it that are sort of the psychology behind why this PowerPoint or why this presentation that ultimately you'll see will be very powerful and something that you can plug into to make it easy for you. We'll then talk about sort of a process that we're going to be using for signing up the fundraisers, and that'll be important because it does a couple of things. One is it sort of solidifies the commitment of the fundraiser, but it also gives you a tool so that you kind of get the information you need to be able to help them launch a successful fundraising campaign. So which organizations really do fit best into this? Well, here's kind of the good news about this, is that it doesn't really matter if an organization is big or small. And this is really the beauty, honestly, in what it is that we're doing. If you think about a small organization, and when I say small, that could be as many as, they have 10 people that are going to come in from they're a very small organization, a small church. They're a cause-related organization. And so if they only had 10 people to bring in, what's great about that is if they were in any other, because there are other marketplaces out there that do what we do, where they have a fundraising platform. The difference is that it's just about their supporters. And what's powerful about ours is that it's not just about your supporters. It's actually about your supporters and their friends and their friends and their friends through 10 generations. Now, for the fundraisers, you're going to see where it's 9 generations. As an agent, which probably most of you are on this call, and if you're not an agent yet, you probably want to be, because this program is so powerful in terms of what it can mean for an agent. But what that will do in terms of creating just a ripple viral effect for a small organization is unbelievable in terms of what it can do. So we'll run through those numbers towards the end, and if any of you have gotten a chance to already play with the calculator that exists, then you'll see that you already sort of know what can happen, but we'll run through that at the end as well. So certainly nonprofits, and when I say nonprofits, everybody thinks it has to be a 501c3. It does not. if they're not approved as a nonprofit, which is a 501c3, it's okay. But we do want them to be a charity or a cause related. You know, we don't want anybody just coming in here and throwing up a fundraiser and saying it is one if it's not. And that's why we'll have a sort of a process that I'll share for the form, so that we can sort of have the commitment that this is a real organization, a real fundraising effort to, you know, support something that's positive and is making a difference in their communities and in our world, quite frankly. So charities are great, obviously, because they're very passionate a lot of times about what it is that they do. So it's something that you can really wrap your arms around in terms of getting excited about sharing out with their supporters. The churches, you know, I'm finding that churches are probably one of the easiest to share this with. So I'm just going to tell you that it does not matter if you have a sales background. It doesn't matter if you've ever done a fundraising type of program before. This is really sharing. And so when I said on that first slide that we're going to talk about the sales, there's really no sales to be done here. What we're doing is we're opening the gates for these fundraisers to come in and participate and benefit from what it is that we're doing. Yearly events. What I mean by yearly events, if you open up your newspaper or you get online and you look what's going on in your community, there's always 5K runs or 10K runs, or there's a gala, or there's an auction, like a silent auction going on. Well, what we're trying to do is to plug into those organizations, those things that are already in place, because think about it. A 5K run is usually there because it is set up to support, say, you know, cancer awareness. Well, then what you would do is you'd go to them and say, hey, well, you're already handing out bags to all of your participants. What if you put in all those bags something that allowed them to continue to support well beyond the race or the event that's happening? So, you know, think of those things in your organization that allow you to do that. I know on the previous slide here, it also talked about schools. Schools can be a little bit more difficult, but we have them rolling out in schools right now. There's a number of these that are underway. We've got some really big ones underway, and you know, I'll just tell you, the big ones they take longer, but they're amazing. We've got some really great organizations that are coming on to really launch into, and we've got a couple of the agents, one in particular, Joel, who's just been phenomenal in terms of reaching out to some of these bigger organizations. So it really doesn't matter. Every organization really is a fit for this. The question is, who's going to go out and tell them about it, because it really is a unique platform, and they've not had anything. They may think that they've had something put like this in front of them before, but I guarantee you they have not, because we've been scouring to see what's out there, and there's nothing that's doing what we're doing in terms of paying referral cash through the 10 generations, and we'll talk about that a little bit more here in a minute. The script just needs to be simple and something that you're comfortable with. So, you know, this is the one that I've sort of been using, just saying, hey, my name's Cheryl Bassitt, and I'm going to be brief. If I could show something to you that was a fundraising platform that won't require you, your organization, or those who support you to spend one dime extra while raising significant ongoing dollars for your cause, would you be open to learning more? The word open is in caps there because the word open is so powerful. People do not like to think of themselves as being closed, so if you were to say, you know, would you be open to learning more? No matter what you say before that, as long as you say something that's intriguing at all, would you be open to learning more about this? Most people won't say. I get yes most of the time, and it's not because I'm saying anything amazing. It's because people like to feel like they're open to new ideas or to listening to someone. So let's assume they're going to say yes, and I believe they will. There's something then you want to try to figure out pretty quickly. The person that you've just gotten on the phone with, let's say this is a phone call, are they the decision maker, or are they a part of a committee so they're just part of the decision making, or are they the gatekeeper? And so if they're the decision maker, you know, you can figure out what works for you. You could plug them into one of the webinars. Maybe you feel like you know enough. Maybe you've seen the PowerPoint enough times that you feel like you can do a good job of explaining it, which is great. If not, there's going to be the resources to help you do that. But if they're a part of the decision making, then you probably don't want to say as much in that moment because you don't want them to try to make a decision. You want to get in front of that committee. So again, it's like, well, would the committee be open to hearing a little bit more about this? Now they may say, hey, I want to look at it first. That's fine. So go ahead and let them, again, use the resources. But you know, you're going to have to do it the way they want to do it to a degree, but if they're only part of the decision making, I would be trying to do as little as you can in that moment and then get in front of that committee. And again, this is where, and I'll talk about this, but this is where if you need help, this is where I come in. I can help you do this. We can set up a webinar and we can get their committee and get everybody on the same page at the same time. Now, if they're the gatekeeper, now let me tell you what I mean by this. The other day I'm talking to a church and Rose answers the phone. Well, Rose is really not the decision maker, but she is the decision maker in that moment because Rose is going to decide if I get to move past to the next, you know, playing field, if you will, to try to present this. So what I do is I acknowledge that and I say, Rose, you know, look, I really want to be respectful of what it is your process is for doing these programs. So could you tell me, if you were in my shoes, would you help me understand what, you know, how it is that you would present this to whoever the decision maker is and have her work with you? And this is what she did. So finally, by the time I got off the phone with Rose, you know, Rose felt like she was on my team. And now when I call the person that she gave me the name of, I can say, you know, I had this great conversation with Rose. So now it's almost like I have a warm lead-in to some extent with the person who is the decision maker. So, but you know, I want to respect Rose's role there, and a lot of times there is a person that plays that role that they're not going to let you through unless they feel like that you're going to be offering something that's valuable. So I use the same script with Rose in the beginning, but when Rose says, you know, well, you know, that's so-and-so, but basically she's saying you have to get by me first, I want to empower Rose to help me understand their process so that she can be a part of my team in trying to make this happen, and I hope that makes sense. But usually that's a very important process to understand, and if you can do that, then you can normally get this thing to keep it moving forward. So again, you could overview the program for yourself. These are the options. You can refer them to the MNO Fund One Stop, and we'll continually be making updates to that website. You can plug them into a webinar, live or recorded, and we're going to have both of those going on. The recorded one will be up soon. There's already this presentation that I'm doing tonight, a version similar to this, I believe, is up or going up in the back office if it's not done already. And then my email, Cheryl at MyNetworkOne.com, is to schedule a webinar that I'm happy to do if you have someone that you want to put this in front of to show this. So if you open the door, then we can set that up and come in and do a presentation. Follow-up. And I want to talk about this for a second because I cannot tell you, and this is not just this business. This is true in a lot of businesses. People will go to all this work to sort of open up the door, if you will, to whatever it is, get the wedge their foot in the door, and then because the person that, say Rose said she was going to call me back, and she didn't. On the day she said she would. A lot of people would say, oh, you know what, I guess they just really weren't interested. And I'm going to tell you, it's not that they're not interested. It's that they have 10, 15, 20 other things on their plate, and you just need to make sure that you're a part of that process. Excuse me one second. So what I do with the follow-up is let's say I start trying to call Rose, and Rose isn't returning my phone calls. And let's say I know that Rose can see my number coming in. Maybe it's her cell phone, right? In this case, it wouldn't be, but let's say it is, just for the sake of argument. So I know she knows that I called. And what I will do eventually is, again, because it's not, I am not going to, she's going to have to tell me no. And I think people need to be persistent. In fact, Joel Brown's probably on this call. He's probably one of the most persistent individuals I've ever met. But you know what? He's getting results as a result with his follow-up skills. But what I will say eventually, and you know, you don't have to use a script. I'm sharing this because this works for me. Maybe it makes me feel better, but it works. And I'll call and I'll say, if I have to leave another voicemail, because eventually, you know, I can't only call so many times without leaving a message. So let's say I'm leaving a message, and I'll say, hey, Rose, look, there could be such a fine line between being a pest and being persistent. Please understand that my goal is to be persistent because I believe what I have is so powerful. And the question I have to you is, I know you're busy, but are you still open to allowing this to move forward? And so I will use that because I want them to know, and you know what, I would rather be a pest who's committed to what they're doing. If that's what they want to think, let them go ahead and think I'm a pest, but I'm going to be persistent in terms of what I'm trying to do. because I want them to know my commitment level to what it is that I'm behind. And so I'm just going to encourage you to really get into that follow-up and don't give up. Keep on it, because a lot of times it's not that they're not interested, they're just busy. They have a lot of things, and right now they don't know enough about your program to realize how important and how valuable it could be to what it is they're going to do. So how do you sign up a fundraiser? There is a form we're going to talk about at the very end. My program here has got a mind of its own, so let me go back a slide if I can. The form is going to be something, again, that allows you to not only help you roll out that program, but you'll see 1 through 9 on the side. We are, maybe most of you know this, but we are unlocking for these fundraisers. They can come in for free, and we are unlocking 1 through 9 in the generational tree. So automatically they have 9 generations that they can feed from in terms of supporting that organization. But you cannot get that 1 through 9 unlocked unless I get that form, because that form has to go to the IT department. So if you have a fundraiser, that form is going to be critical in terms of getting it back to me. And again, you can email it to me at the Cheryl at MyNetworkOne, so that I can get that off to the IT department to get that fundraiser unlocked officially. So you can have them go to their marketplace, obviously, link and sign up for their free marketplace if they're a fundraiser. You're going to want to help them determine a kickoff. If they have an event coming up that's not too far off in the future, getting something like this to launch in conjunction with that event is, again, a very powerful way of doing this. You'll want to start looking for more and more of the marketing materials coming in your back office. There's cards, postcards going up, there's already an email up there that's very effective in terms of if it's for a follow-up phone call. So maybe read through that, because there's a lot of good information just in that follow-up email, and that's already in your back office that you can use to tweak it for yourself if you need to, but it also gives you a great scripting that you can use with them on the phone a little bit if you want to pull some information from that as well. So now let's just real quickly, I'm going to run through this presentation and then I'm going to skip over, but you know, obviously we want them to know that this is a unique platform, and I think as they see more of it and watch the presentations, they'll figure that out because they've seen other programs. It really is a game changer, and the reason that it is a game changer is because we pay referral cash, and nobody else is doing that. Now, when I say nobody else is doing that, there are some organizations that might pay for a one-time referral, but what we're talking about is ongoing. 5 years from now, literally, somebody that came into your organization could still be supporting. So we talk about what if, obviously, all your supporters didn't have to spend one dime extra, but be benefiting your organization. This is what they're used to. They're used to traditional fundraising. This is what they've been doing for years. And every year they have to plan for these events over and over, and they take a lot of resources and a lot of time. And what those programs do is they create a temporary cash flow. The marketplace really is the only one that creates what I would call a true residual income. Of course, it's because we have this wonderful marketplace with over 2,300 stores, all the things and places that they already shop and buy, they're there, right? So there's places they already know, like, and trust, and we can plug them into that. Of course, we're going to talk a little bit, too, about some of the things that we have that people don't think about being in the marketplace, but because we are sort of harnessing the power of the current trends that are happening and the way that you can shop online with the marketplace that they don't normally get anywhere else. And forgive me, this seems like we're really going fast here, so let me see if I can go back. Okay. Because we want to show them how their supporters can shop, where they're already going to shop, save, and earn that cash back. And this is the same messaging that you guys are all doing already, you know, for your own marketplaces. It's just now the fundraisers are going to be sharing this message out for you. You want to talk about being able to build your organization fast and share this marketplace. These fundraisers are your key, absolutely, to being able to do that in a way that you know, it's hard to do individually on your own, but if you've got a fundraiser going and they can put 100 in or 500 in or 1,000 in, think about what's just happened to your marketplace, because again, 10 generations for the agents, and the fundraiser could be on your front generation. We're harnessing the power of the current trends because here's what we want them to understand. The truth is that people are already shopping online, and this was one of the slides that I added in because I think they need to understand that the trends towards doing this. And why are people shopping online? Well, there's all kinds of reasons, and actually the reasons are sort of, you know, irrelevant, but as our world changes, these are the reasons that people are more and more shopping to online. And I don't know about you, but I avoid Black Friday now. I don't want to go out there. So Cyber Mondays kind of become the big thing. And for online shopping, and if you look at what's happened with the trends, you can see, I mean, the growth that's already happened, and that's up through 2013. And 2014, by the way, was an even bigger number. So now if we talk about what's just happened in general and where they're projecting this to go, that is projected to go to $370 billion in the next, 3 or 4 years here. So if you just think about, well, actually it's 2 years. So if you just think about where that's going, the questions that you have to ask these fundraisers, the people that support them are already shopping online. This is not something that's sort of going to kind of happen. It is already happening. The question is, do they want to take advantage of it? I don't know how many of you are familiar with Ebates, but this slide is the one I want to spend just a little bit of time on, because I think you're going to get the question, well, where does the money come from? So here's Ebates, right? And Ebates sold for $1 billion. Why? Because of all the shopping trends I just showed you. Ebates has a marketplace just like we do, and they are basically doing the same thing where they're paying this cash back, right? So let's just say there's a 6% cash back. Well, for an Ebates, and it's not just Ebates, there's other marketplaces, they pay half to the consumer, which is the same as we're doing, but the other half Ebates keeps. And as a result, that's why Ebates sells for $1 billion. Excuse me. What we're doing is that we're sharing that. So that 3% that normally would be kept by an Ebates type of company, we're sharing through the 10 generations. So I hope that all makes sense, because that's the referral cash. So if you think, again, let's take a small organization who could only bring 100 people in, but now that 100 that they have on their front generation becomes literally thousands and thousands of people. That 3% shared through 10 generations becomes massive amounts of money, and that's what the calculator shows that we'll show here in a second. So we really do pay referral cash because we pay you when you shop, just like Ebates, but we also pay you when your friends shop, and their friends, and their friends, and their friends, and so on. And this is the power of what a small organization or any organization can do, is to take advantage of the friends and the referral cash, which drives that behavior. The marketplace is going to do the heavy lifting. As we evolve the marketplace even more, there's going to be more things put in for the viral growth. One of the things that we have is the MNO Cashback Finder. Now, Ebates has a technology similar to this, but a lot of these fundraisers that tap into these marketplaces, this does not exist. So the Cashback Finder is, you've all seen it because you have a marketplace, but it's easy to install. I will point out, and this is sort of important just so we set the right expectation, the Cashback Finder is only on PCs and laptops right now, and that technology doesn't exist on smart technology anywhere. So it's not that we're behind. As soon as it's available, we'll probably have it too. But what the Cashback Finder does, as you know, it opens up the entire marketplace. So if they are on a laptop or PC and they install the Cashback Finder, which takes like 60 seconds, what it does is it goes out and finds those things for them. So here's something that, I typed in on my search, and this is Google, Yahoo, Bing, it doesn't matter, but I typed out on this search, Columbus restaurants. Well, in that the Columbus restaurants came up, I didn't have a plan for the evening, so why not go somewhere where I'm getting 3.6% cash back, if we go out to eat. The second thing was, and this is where I really was sort of an eye-opener for me, I was looking for a plumber, and I would have never, ever in a million years thought about going to the marketplace for a plumber. But here we are, Angie's List brings up a lot of these inside the, as far as our marketplace. So why wouldn't I want to, if I don't have a plumber and I'm looking for one, why wouldn't I go to one that's 16.5% in cash back? So all of a sudden I realized the power of that Cashback Finder in terms of what it does, in terms of helping me as an individual, but certainly helping these organizations drive the behavior to whatever it is that their, what their fundraiser is. It's going to keep them engaged in a way that they wouldn't be able to do if we didn't have this technology in place, and we're one of the few that actually has this available. So here's a vacation. Now I have this one, and I sort of wish I didn't, because there's a great travel program already inside MNO. So we don't want to take away from that, because that's where you should go for your travel. But again, if I forgot to go, guess what? It's going to pop up and remind me about the marketplace. So it's just a powerful tool to have. This was at Christmas time. I just share this one because I bought a North Face coat for my son who wanted it for Christmas, and I didn't want to go to North Face because they're not in our mall, but Nordstrom's is in our mall, and I could get up to 5.4% cash back. So what I did was I went into Nordstrom's, I clicked on the bar at the top, and so then it says you are now earning the 5.4% in cash back. And so as I clicked on it, I could do my shopping, and within just a few days, because Nordstrom's actually is pretty quick, by the way, I saw that I had $6.70 coming in cash back. Now, if I had just gone out to the marketplace and tried to find the North Face coat, you know, I wouldn't know which store to really go shopping in initially. So what was great was I just typed in a Google search, North Face coats, and immediately on the first page, and literally our SEO almost is always on the first page of any search that you do, where you can save and earn your cash back. But again, you know, I'm supporting the whole community tree. So when you're talking with a fundraiser, you want to help them sort of create a strategic plan, and again, this form I'm going to show you next sort of helps you to help them do that. And really, there's only a couple things you want them to focus on. You want them to help invite, you want to show them how they can invite their supporters, and we'll talk about the different ways you can do that. And you want them to activate the cashback finder. You want them to inform their people how to use that technology to drive a behavior that's going to become, you know, over time, it'll become more and more common to them. But until it does, that cashback finder is doing it all for them. And you want to give them a good way to invite their family and friends. And that's it. Because you know what? The other 8 generations underneath that fundraiser are going to be driven by the marketplace. So you don't want to overcomplicate this. You don't want them to feel overwhelmed with this process. A lot of these nonprofits, churches, they already have a lot on their plate. So what you want to do is tell them this can be turnkey as possible by just tapping into things they already have in place, but just focusing on their supporters and their supporters inviting their friends, and then just talking about how the cashback finder, which really is right there and is easy to install if they're on a laptop or PC. So let's talk about the calculator real quick. What we did was we put in some numbers here, and I'm going to encourage you, do not get crazy with these numbers. If you've played with this calculator at all and you start putting in, like, you know, 10,000 people and 10% even just of that, tapping it, it starts to get, the numbers get big that they think that people feel they're unrealistic. The truth is they're not. It's just the power of what can happen when you have this ripple effect that's going on within the family or the dynamics of this community tree. But I would just encourage you not to get crazy with it, just to keep the numbers, because you know what, the numbers are phenomenal even when you talk about it at this level. So if you have 1,000 of your supporters, let's say, in an organization, and 10% participate, and we put in here that they're going to spend on average about $100 a month. If they're really changing the way they shop, that's an easy number to do. And then we're going to do 1.5% cash back. Now, they probably are going to earn more than 1.5% on average, but let's just say on average that's the amount that's coming back on the purchases. So we've kept all these numbers sort of low and reasonable to look at. Well, what happens here is if you go, and I'm showing 10 here, for a fundraiser you would actually be looking at 9, but even if you play it down to 9, it's about $14,000 a month if you total up all these generations for them that they're earning on a monthly basis from building a community tree. That really the only impact they're doing is, here's their 100 they brought in, and then we're helping them to show how to ripple that down through the next generation. So we figured they could do 3 because they're going to be more active in it. After that, we're saying on average only 2 per person. Some are going to do more, some are going to do less, but people are going to see their referral cash and realize that as they invite people to the marketplace, they may not even know they're inside of the fundraiser, but as they invite people, they'll be building that fundraising community tree for them. So the numbers are phenomenal in terms of what this can do over time, and it's the power of a community coming together and you know, building around at the very beginning. So the bigger this number is that they bring in on their front generation, obviously the more that will grow. But what if they only bring in 20 the first year and 20 the second year, and so forth? It can continue to just bring people on board as they come in. So, you know, don't worry about a small organization. In some ways, they'll be easier to get out of the gate, but the power of what a small organization will be able to do will be so impacting for them in terms of turning a residual-based income for them. So the form, let's go ahead and talk about that for a second. Oh, I'm sorry, I actually have a recap page here. This recap page is sort of powerful when you're going through this, so I'll recap this real quick, that the MNO Marketplace has more than 2,300 stores, millions of products, and it's taking advantage of those online buying trends. Your supporters are already shopping online, and now they can just shop where they already shop, buy the things they're already going to buy anyway, all while they're saving money and earning money for your cause. It's almost like it sounds too good to be true, but that's exactly what's happening. MNO pays referral cash, which is unique. No one else does this, but it allows you to build a massive community tree and extends your reach far, far beyond their base of supporters that they could have done on their own. The MNO Cashback Finder technology turns your marketplace literally into the entire internet, which engages your community and enhances the behavior for increased sales. The perfect case and scenario was the plumber that I would have never gone to look for, but all of a sudden I see how, you know, because of that cashback technology, I can hire a plumber and have it benefit. Supporters can feel good when they buy, knowing that it supports you, and they can easily invite others to shop, save, and earn on that same cashback. So it's really a powerful program that these fundraisers can do, and amazingly, it's free to everyone, not only to their supporters, but to the fundraiser itself up through the 9 generations. So the form that you're going to see, if we skipped a page, here we go, is the sign-up form. It's pretty simple. We don't want to make this complicated, but we do want the commitment level. So here's the organization name, getting their approximate number of supporters, and an address, obviously, and those things, whether or not they have a Facebook account for their organization, because that'll be important to know, because we can help them put some posts out, but brief overview of their mission statement for their organization, and then confirming, we want them to kind of sign on a dotted line which just says that they are a valid, real cause with a real purpose behind them for this fundraiser, so that, you know, again, we can keep some, you know, just some credibility to this program, because we don't want things going in here that are not truly, but this is the only way, too, that they're going to be able to get unlocked through 9 generations, so we can at least look at these and make sure they're a good, valid organization that's coming in. And then this is sort of important to find out who are going to be the players involved in this. And the reason this is important is because, again, even though Rose, and I'll use her as an example again, maybe wasn't my decision maker, my guess is Rose is still going to be the person who helps me to get this done once it's approved. So I want to know who is the person, because a lot of times the people that are decision makers, they're the big, you know, they're working on big things, or they're the big visionaries, but they're not the detail people. So I want to say to that person, you know, who on your staff or who in your organization would be the person who would really help me to do the details behind this, that could help me roll this program out, and getting them to sort of empower that person to be able to work alongside you, so that you don't run into those roadblocks along the way. Excuse me, because of the person that you talked with originally is probably just too busy to really help me get this done. So finding out who those key players are, and whether they're a volunteer person or an actual staff person, can also make a difference in terms of their availability and their ability to actually implement. We want to know how they communicate already. We're not trying to reinvent their communication structure. What we want to do is work in harmony with the structure they already have. So if they have an online newsletter or bulletins or social media, meetings that they do that we can, you know, give them information for, whether it's handouts. Obviously, if it's a church, the bulletins are a great way. If they have, you know, again, the Facebook account or other things that they do on a social media standpoint, we're going to have those things available that they can take and make turnkey, you know, for their organization, but also they're going to be able to personalize it in a way that works in harmony with what they already do. Any additional information, obviously the special or annual events that they have that you can help them to orchestrate through, and then an IT person could be very valuable if they have one. They don't always, but if they do, knowing who that is could be very helpful to get the link up on their page and to put things in place from that standpoint, or to help out with the social media strategy if in fact that's the way they communicate. So again, the MNO Fund One Stop is where you can send a lot of people. We're going to be making some changes to that here in the next couple of days. We will be replicating that site. I know some of you would love to see that happen sooner than later. It's in line to happen. Until then, I can tell you when something comes through that site, if I'm immediately going back out to anybody and letting them know that I know. So if you're going to be doing fundraising, just shoot me an email, let me know. That way, if anything comes through that's yours, I mean, I'm here to make sure that those get assigned properly. So I don't want you to be afraid to use that MNO Fund One Stop until we can get it replicated. I don't want that to hold up anyone's business. We're going to find out where that came from, and it actually asks who sent you. So it's not like they wouldn't be putting that information in probably anyway. But if somebody didn't, I'd be coming back out to the agents to find out who sent that person, because that's my goal, is to help all of you to be successful in this. Again, my email, Cheryl at MyNetworkOne. Of course, you can always call corporate, and I have a link there that you can obviously get to another link. But I'm on the phone system too, so you can leave me a voicemail as well. So we are really through this, and Kevin, I assume you're still there, and if I don't know if there's anything you wanted me to say additional, but I'm just really excited to be able to share this, because I think this is a phenomenal program that anyone can do.
Hey, Cheryl, can you hear me?
I can.
Great, great, great. You did a phenomenal job. I don't know if anyone have any questions. You can actually type in, and Cheryl, is it okay for maybe about a minute or so if someone have questions that you can ask the question for them?
2 minutes even, not just a minute.
All right.
Maybe 2 minutes.
Excellent.
No, I'm happy to answer questions if anyone has any at this point. So I know it's a lot of information, but honestly, guys, it's so easy to share this, and you're not even selling. You're just going out and saying, here's a phenomenal opportunity that you wouldn't have otherwise to put this in front of people. So I don't know. Will I be able to see the questions, Kevin, or can you only see them?
I'll be able to see them. If not, I'll read them to you. So anyone have any questions before we close? Because when it comes down to the fundraising, Hey, okay, Mr. Rutherford, you're on the line?
Yeah, I just wanted to say great job, Cheryl.
Oh, thank you.
I hope all of you understand the commitment that she has. I mean, when I first met Cheryl, her passion was fundraising from day one. So she's a great asset to this company. I hope that you reach out and use her. And I'll tell you, once you start to really understand what this will do for you personally, I mean, this is about giving back to the community, but this is also about putting together a monstrous group in your community tree, because keep in mind, those fundraisers go in your community tree, all of those levels stay in your community tree too. So not only are you able to reach out and help someone in your community, but it really is building your community tree probably faster and larger than you could ever imagine on trying to do something on your own. So I really encourage you to embrace the fundraising, and it's just all around good. It's a good feeling out there. So just another, again, Cheryl, great job, and Kevin, thanks for hosting the call, and I'm going to mute myself.
I appreciate it. Okay, we have a few questions, Cheryl. So the first question is actually from Brent Harris. Where do you get the forms to give to the organization?
Well, Rod just muted himself out. I sent those to Carol. I think they're up in the back office. If they're not, they will be probably very soon. But those should be there should be a section for the email and some of the other materials as well as that form.
Okay, excellent. Appreciate it.
But if anybody has any trouble, I mean, I can always email it to people too. If you want to email me if you don't see it back there yet. I'm not sure. Again, if Rod's still on here, I don't know if that went up yet, but Carol does have that, so it just needs to get loaded in if it's not.
Okay, excellent. Okay, the next question is from Jeff Finley. When will the presentation video be out?
Well, I've had a few little challenges getting so that I don't have all this background noise on my audio system, because I actually record we've got some background noise. So I'm going to try to do it again tomorrow with a different way of doing it. So hopefully maybe tomorrow, if